6th, 2020, Thanksgiving. And I want to make this little video in case you're spending Thanksgiving alone. I know that this year Thanksgiving will look a little bit different for every person. Some communities have been affected by COVID more than others. So if you're staying home or you're feeling a little bit lonely, you can watch this video with me and it's like we're together today. Okay. Maybe a little bit of triggers. I have this little cork. This little cork. That sounds really nice. Sounds really nice. So, whatever your situation, I hope that you're well and you're healthy. And I hope that you can make the best of it today. So before we start, I want to mention two things. Number one, not everybody celebrates Thanksgiving. In the world, for example, I'm from Mexico, Mexicana, and we don't really celebrate Thanksgiving. We don't celebrate it at all. But because now I live in the United States, I have adopted it somehow, and I do a huge vegan meal just to say thank you and be grateful for what I have without my family because they're all still in Mexico. So not a lot of people celebrate it. And even if you did celebrate it, there is a lot of history that comes with the holiday that not a lot of people know about regarding the Native American community that I think everybody should be informed on and make their own decision to how to act in this holiday. So, whatever you choose to do with that information, that's up to you, but I would love it if we could keep the Native American tribes in mind and know at least the history of how the Thanksgiving holiday started. I think that's the appropriate thing to do, and sometimes we get caught up in the turkey and all that. Well, some people do. I don't eat meat, but there's a lot to unpack there, so to speak. But I'm sure you can go to another video to learn Thanksgiving history. But today, I want to kind of make this about being thankful and grateful and doing our best in this 2020. The second thing is that there are a ton of cars and airplanes for some reason, even though I'm recording on a Sunday. I've been losing my mind because a car or an airplane happens like every 5 minutes, every 3 minutes. So it's gonna happen, it's fine. I can't edit them out, otherwise I would just have 30-second segments of no noise. So, it's life. I'm not perfect. We're all here to have fun. So that's all I wanted to say. So first of all, I want to ask you, how are you doing? And I want you to respond to me if that's okay. If you would be comfortable with that, how are you doing? And I don't want to hear just fine. I want to hear today, like at this moment in time, in whatever room you're in, whatever you're listening to or seeing or feeling, mentally, spiritually, physically, how are you doing? Okay. Okay, that's great. Thank you. Thank you for that. Now, I want to tell you a little bit about Mexico, because now that we're getting to know each other, States, and people would ask me, what are you doing for Thanksgiving? And I was like, nothing, because I don't celebrate it. And they would be like, you're not doing anything, where's your family? And I'm like, they're in Mexico. They're like, oh, do you want to come to our house? And I would be like, no thank you. Are you sure? And they were very nice and sweet about it. They were very kind people, very loving people, but they were still like strangers. I served them spaghetti, so they were like, do you want to come? And I'm like, no thank you. So that's kind of when I started to realize how different the cultures were when I moved to the US. Because to me it was just another Thursday, but here it was a big deal. So that's the first story. I'm gonna put some lip gloss for you because I like the lip gloss sounds. Anyway. The second story. It's really funny. Gosh. Okay, it's a little personal, but it's just you and me today. And it's Thanksgiving. We had nothing better to do. So, let me tell you a story about this guy I dated. Okay, here it goes. So, I'll start. Okay, there's an airplane. Should I start over? I said I wouldn't start over. I'll just stay with you. Look at my eye. Look at me. We're here. It's fine. Focus on me. Okay. So I had this client when I was a waitress. That's a weird word. I had a customer at the restaurant that I used to work at. And I was single. And this guy came in. Oh my gosh, this is so embarrassing. And I was just serving him whatever, pizza, whatever he ordered. And he was at the restaurant with his dad. So I was talking to them, and the dad and him were super friendly, and he was probably like 38. He was older than me. And he's like, oh, nice to meet you, whatever. And I'm like, oh, nice to meet you. This is the first and only date I've ever been on. I've never had an official date. I always kind of date my friends. But this is the only date, American date I've ever had, formal American date. So this guy's like, do you want to go out with me? And I was like, sure. Actually, he asks me, are you single? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, do you want to go out with me on a date? And I was like, sure. First date. And I was like 20, 22, 21, 22. First date ever. So I get ready, right? And to me, he's just like, oh, we're gonna go to dinner on a Thursday. And he says, would you like to come to Thanksgiving dinner with my family as our first date? And I was like, I guess, weird first date. I was not immersed in the culture enough to know how crazy that is. Now I know, I'm like, that's insane. But at the time I was like, well, I've never been to a Thanksgiving Thanksgiving with his family. But the plot thickens. The plot thickens. The plot thickens. The plot thickens. So then I find out that that is the first Thanksgiving family reunion they've ever done as a family. Ever. Something about them being estranged or something happened. The family was just like not together for a long time, and that Thanksgiving was the first Thanksgiving they were doing as a family ever. And this guy brings me as a prop, basically, as a security blanket of like, oh, I'm nervous about going to this Thanksgiving dinner for the first time. I'm gonna bring her, this poor waitress he found somewhere. And I was the one like trying to get to know everybody and like saying funny jokes and like, you know, being like, what are those green beans, you know? And they were like, oh my gosh, that's so funny, you don't know what green beans are. And I'm like, I've never had them. They're like, try one. You know, I was a hit at the Thanksgiving dinner. I was the life of that party. And that guy knew what he was doing. So, as destiny would have it, it didn't work out. He had an energy drink business. He was an entrepreneur. So, I wish him well. And I wish the best for him and his daughter. And you might have a lot of questions, right? You have so many questions. Did you kiss him? Did you guys go out a second date? Did he explain the family situation? So, did I kiss him? Yes. Did you guys go on a second date? Yes. I think it was like 3 dates total. And then the third one, did he ever explain the family situation? Yes, he did afterwards. That's when I was like, oh, they're so nice and they're so funny and I loved your family. And he's like, yeah, that's the first time that we do that. And I was like, is the translation correct? Is my Spanish playing tricks on me? What does that mean? You mean this is the first time you ever hang out as a family? Yes. So, you know, every family is different. Every family has problems. Every family has issues. And I am not one to judge. They were lovely. But how dare he bring me on a first date and put that much pressure on me to like make it easy for him to be with his family? The nerve. Anyway. Are you tired of this? I'm a little tired. So I have some candy canes from a video that I just recorded for a holiday collab with Gata ASMR and Bearded Audio ASMR, like 2 collabs, holiday collabs. So I have these laying around, so maybe I'll just tap on them. Bite them. But if you want to eat while I just chat with you, that would be nice. So if you have any food, even if you don't have Thanksgiving food, just a cereal or a sandwich, whatever you have, you can take it out now and we can continue our little combo. So I really wanted to read you the history of Thanksgiving, if that's okay. I know it might It starts the article with, every November I get asked an unfortunate loaded question. You're a Native American. What do you do? What do you eat on Thanksgiving? My answer spans my lifetime. Then he goes on to say, the Native students he was in with school, and like his family traditions and the gatherings and the Betty Crocker in the 50s, and how he has really good memories of Thanksgiving. But then he goes into saying it was the Wampanoag in 1621 who helped the first wave of Puritans arriving on our shores, showing them how to plant crops, forage for wildwoods, and basically survive. The first official mention of a Thanksgiving celebration occurs in 1637, after the colonists brutally massacre an entire Pequot village, then subsequently celebrate their barbaric victory. Years later, President Washington first tried to start a holiday of Thanksgiving in 1789. But this has nothing to do with Indians and settlers. Instead, it's intended to be a public day of thanksgiving and prayer. It wasn't until the writer Sarah Josepha Hale persuaded President Lincoln that Thanksgiving holiday wasn't needed and could help heal the divided nation that it was made official in 1863. The inspiration, but even that was not the story we are all taught today. The inspiration for